Come with me. 3 simple words that would change 3 lives forever on the coldest October night, when a single black father found a paralyzed young black woman sleeping on concrete beside an empty bus stop. She'd been there since yesterday. He couldn't leave her there for another freezing night. But what happened when he brought her home would prove that sometimes the most broken people create the strongest families. Miss, are you all right? The words cut through the October wind as Darius Coleman stood frozen outside the 24-hour pharmacy, his truck still running, medicine for his sick daughter clutched in his hand. But it wasn't the cold making him stop. It was the figure huddled against the bus stop across the street, not even on the bench, but on the freezing concrete beside it. The young woman lifted her head slowly. Even in the dim streetlight, Darius could see she couldn't be older than 25. Her natural hair was matted, her brown face gaunt, but her eyes held a weariness that made his chest tighten. "I'm fine," she said quietly, her voice hoarse. "Just waiting." Darius glanced at his watch. 11:47 p.m. The buses stopped running at 10. It's almost midnight. The woman tried to shift position but winced. "I know. I just don't have anywhere else to go right now." Those words hung in the air between them. Darius's hand instinctively went to his jacket pocket where Zara's fever reducer was getting warm. His 7-year-old was at home with Auntie Grace from next door, burning up with fever, waiting for medicine. He should go. Any reasonable person would go. "How long have you been out here?" "Since yesterday," she admitted, then quickly added, "But I'm okay. Really. I've managed before. Since yesterday." The words hit Darius like a physical blow. This young black woman had been sleeping on concrete for over 24 hours in a wheelchair in October, and she was trying to convince him she was fine. Darius found himself crouching down to her level, his knees protesting against the cold pavement. "What's your name?" "Immani," she said after a pause. "Imani Rhodes. I'm Darius Coleman." He stood up, running his hand over his close-cropped hair, a nervous habit he couldn't shake. The motion knocked his wallet from his pocket, and a photo fluttered to the ground. Immani reached for it before he could, her movements surprisingly quick. She stared at the picture, him and a little girl with beaded braids, both grinning at the camera, matching father-daughter dance sashes across their formal clothes. "You have a daughter?" she asked, something shifting in her expression. "Zara." "She's 7. Thinks she knows everything about everything." His voice softened automatically, the way it always did when he talked about Zara. "Lost her mom 3 years back. It's just us now." The admission hung between them, unexpected and raw. Darius hadn't meant to share that, but something about this moment, this woman alone in the dark, made the truth slip out. Immani handed the photo back carefully. "She's beautiful. She has your smile. She has her mother's everything else." Darius tucked the photo away. Then, before he could second-guess himself, before logic could override instinct, he spoke again. "Come with me." Immani looked up at him, confusion crossing her features. "What?" "Come with me," Darius repeated more firmly this time. "It's supposed to drop below freezing tonight. There's a cold front coming through. You can't stay here. I can't pay you or anything. I don't need charity. I'm not offering charity. I'm offering a warm place for the night. My daughter's sick. I need to get home with her medicine, and I can't leave knowing you're spending another night on concrete. I just can't. You don't even know me. I could be dangerous." "You're not," Darius said simply. "Dangerous people don't worry about being dangerous." Immani stared at him for a long moment, searching his face for something. Maybe sincerity, maybe threat, maybe just trying to understand why a stranger would stop on a cold night for someone society had clearly forgotten. "Why?" she finally asked. "Why do you care?" Darius thought about lying, thought about giving some easy answer about civic duty or human kindness. But looking at this young woman who'd been invisible to everyone else for 2 days, he told the truth. Because 3 years ago, right after my wife died, I stood in a pharmacy parking lot just like this one, holding Zara, completely lost. I didn't know how I was going to make it through the night, much less raise a daughter alone. An old black man stopped, saw me crying, and said 5 words that saved me. You don't have to hurry. He stayed with me for an hour, just talking until I could breathe again. I never even got his name. Darius extended his hand. So I'm asking you, let me be that person for you tonight. Just tonight. Tomorrow you can go back to managing on your own if that's what you want. But tonight, come with me. The October wind picked up, rattling the empty bus stop sign. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed. The pharmacy's neon light flickered. And in that moment, Imani Rhodes made a decision that would change everything. She took his hand. Getting Immani into the truck was a process. She insisted on doing as much as she could herself, transferring from the wheelchair to the passenger seat with practiced movements despite her obvious exhaustion. Darius folded the wheelchair, heavier than he expected, and secured it in the truck bed. It's not far, he said, climbing into the driver's seat. About 15 minutes. Immani nodded, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. Now that she'd agreed to come, the weight of trust seemed to settle on her shoulders. Tell me about Zara, Immani said suddenly. What's wrong with her? Fever and cough. Started yesterday morning, got worse tonight. She's tough, though. Tougher than me most days. Darius turned onto the main road. She tried to convince me she was fine because she didn't want to miss school tomorrow. They're doing volcano projects. Volcanoes? A small smile crossed her face. I loved those projects as a kid. Made one with my grandmother once. Baking soda and vinegar, the whole works. We added red food coloring and dish soap. The kitchen was a disaster. It was the first personal thing she'd shared. Darius tucked it away carefully. Raised by a grandmother, then. No mention of parents. Zara's is supposed to erupt tomorrow. She's been working on it for weeks. Papier-mâché painted to look like Mount St. Helens. She even researched the actual eruption patterns. He glanced at Immani. She gets the perfectionism from her mother. And what does she get from you? The stubborn streak and the inability to leave well enough alone, Darius said, and was rewarded with something that might have been a laugh. They drove in comfortable silence for a few minutes. The heater finally kicked in properly, and Darius saw Immani's shoulders slowly relax as warmth filled the cab. Can I ask? Darius started, then stopped. Sorry, you don't have to answer anything. You want to know about the wheelchair? Immani said. It wasn't a question. I want to know if you're okay, Darius corrected gently. The wheelchair is just part of it. Immani was quiet for so long he thought she wouldn't answer. Then, staring out at the passing streetlights, she began to speak. 2 years ago, construction accident. I was an electrician's apprentice, good at it too. There was a scaffolding collapse at the site, 3 stories. She paused. The company said I violated safety protocols. I didn't, but they had better lawyers. Lost the workers' comp case. Lost everything while I was recovering. That's not right. A lot of things aren't right, Immani said quietly. But you learn to adapt, or you don't survive. Darius turned into his neighborhood. Modest houses with small yards, porch lights creating pools of yellow in the darkness. Auntie Grace's house still had the living room light on. That's my neighbor, Darius explained, seeing Immani tense. She watches Zara when I have to go out. She'll probably come over tomorrow to check on us. Fair warning, she'll try to feed you. Resistance is futile. Are you sure about this? Immani asked as they pulled into his driveway. I'm sure, Darius said firmly. The house was nothing special. A 3-bedroom ranch that needed new gutters and had a front step that creaked. But it was warm, and it was safe. And right now, that was everything. Let me check on Zara first, Darius said, unlocking the door. Make yourself comfortable. Kitchen's through there if you're hungry. Bathroom's down the hall. He paused. Is it accessible? I mean, can you… I'll manage, Immani assured him. I've gotten good at managing. Go check on your daughter. Zara's room was dimly lit by her butterfly nightlight. Darius could hear her breathing, still congested but more even than before. He touched her forehead, definitely cooler. He gave her the new dose of medicine anyway, smoothing back her braided hair. Daddy? She mumbled without opening her eyes. Right here, sweetheart. Did you get my medicine? I did. And something else. We have a visitor who needs our help. Is that okay? Like when we helped that bird with the broken wing. Kinda like that, yeah. Okay. Can I meet them tomorrow? If you're feeling better. Sleep now, baby. When Darius returned to the living room, he found Immani hadn't moved from just inside the doorway, as if she was afraid to enter any further. I don't want to impose. You're not. Are you hungry? I can heat up some soup. There's leftover chicken noodle, Zara's favorite when she's sick. Her stomach chose that moment to growl audibly, and she flushed. Maybe a little hungry. Have you ever seen someone try not to cry over a bowl of soup? Darius watched as Immani took her first spoonful of the reheated chicken noodle, her eyes closing as if it was a gourmet meal instead of something from a can he'd doctored with extra vegetables. When did you last eat? He asked gently. Yesterday morning. The shelter had breakfast before my time was up. The 30-day limit? She looked surprised. You know about that? My company does volunteer work sometimes. Riverside Shelter, right? They're good people but overwhelmed. They tried to help. Gave me information about other places, but they're all full or don't have wheelchair access. She stopped, took another spoonful of soup. It doesn't matter. I've slept in worse places. It does matter, Darius said firmly. You matter. The words seemed to break something in Immani. She set down her spoon, her hands trembling slightly. You don't understand. Nobody just helps anymore. There's always a catch, always something they want. So what do you want? Because I need to know now, before I get comfortable, before I let myself believe. I want you to be safe tonight. I want you to be warm. I want you to eat until you're full and sleep without worrying about freezing or being hurt. That's all. Nobody does that for free. My wife did. Leona would have had you inside with a blanket and hot chocolate before I even finished parking the truck. She believed in helping first, asking questions later. And you? What do you believe? He thought about it carefully. I believe that we're all just trying to make it through. And sometimes, on the really dark nights, we need someone to remind us that morning's coming. They sat in silence while Immani finished her soup. Then another bowl, then a sandwich Darius insisted on making. As she ate, she began to talk. Small things at first. How she'd been an honor student at Spelman, how she'd gotten her apprenticeship through a vocational program, how she was saving for her electrical engineering degree when the accident happened. I was going to be an electrical engineer. Had it all planned out. Work during the day, classes at night. I was good with circuits, understanding how power flows, how to make things work. You still are, Darius pointed out. The accident didn't change your mind. No, but try explaining that to anyone. They see the chair first. Sometimes they don't see anything else at all. It was nearly 2 a.m. when Darius showed Immani to the spare room. It was cluttered with boxes and Zara's old toys, but the bed was clean and the heat worked. This is too much, Immani started. It's a bed and a roof. That's not too much. That's basic human decency. He paused at the door. The bathroom's right across the hall. There are clean towels in the cabinet. If you need anything, Darius. Immani stopped him. Why did you really stop tonight? The truth. He turned back to face her. You want the truth? When I saw you there, I saw every night I felt invisible after Leona died. Every night I sat in Zara's room wondering how I was going to make it to morning. I saw someone who needed to be seen, really seen, and I couldn't drive away from that. Immani nodded slowly, understanding passing between them. "Thank you," she whispered. "Get some rest. Tomorrow will figure itself out." But tomorrow came faster than expected. At 6 a.m., Darius woke to the sound of voices. Zara's high-pitched giggle and another voice, patient and warm. He found them in the kitchen. Zara, still in her Black Panther pajamas with her hair wrapped in her sleep bonnet, sitting at the table while Immani rebraided one section that had come loose. "Dad!" Zara announced. "Miss Immani knows how to do a fishtail braid, a real one." "I can see that," Darius said, trying to process the scene. His daughter, who usually took weeks to warm up to anyone, chatting away like she'd known Immani forever. "She's in a wheelchair," Zara had informed him matter-of-factly. "Like Professor X. She already told me about her accident, and I told her about Mom and Mr. Hoppy. Did you know she can fix electrical stuff?" "Zara, let Miss Immani breathe," Darius said, starting the coffee maker. "It's fine," Immani said, securing the braid with one of Zara's purple hair ties. "She's been telling me about her volcano project. Sounds like you have a future scientist here." "It's supposed to erupt today, but I don't think I can go to school," Zara said sadly, then coughed for emphasis. "Definitely staying home," Darius confirmed. "I'll email your teacher." "But my volcano. Real scientists don't rush their experiments," Immani said gently. "We'll wait until you're better." That first day set a pattern none of them expected. Darius called into work. He had sick days saved up, and the three of them spent the day in a strange but comfortable bubble. Immani helped Zara improve her volcano while Darius caught up on laundry and bills. It felt, in a word, Darius wouldn't let himself think too hard about normal. "She's really smart, Dad," Zara whispered loudly while Immani was in the bathroom, "and she doesn't talk to me like I'm a baby." "I noticed," Darius said, watching his daughter's face light up in a way it hadn't in months. That evening, while Zara napped on the couch, Immani insisted on looking at the electrical outlet in the kitchen that had been sparking. "You don't have to. I want to. It's dangerous, especially with Zara in the house." 20 minutes later, she'd diagnosed and fixed the problem, a loose wire that could have started a fire. "You saved us," Darius said, impressed. "You saved me first," Immani replied simply. 3 days passed, then a week. Darius went back to work, but Immani stayed, helping with Zara, organizing the chaos that had accumulated since Leona's death, bringing order to their disrupted life. She insisted it was temporary, just until she figured out her next move. The shelter might have space next week, she mentioned on day 10. "Right," Darius said. "Or there's a program downtown." "Zara would miss you," he interrupted, then cleared his throat. "I mean, if you left suddenly. She's gotten attached." "Just Zara?" The question hung unasked between them. Week 2 brought a routine. Immani would get Zara ready for school while Darius made breakfast. They'd all eat together like a family, though no one said that word. Darius would drop Zara off on his way to work. Immani would spend the day applying for jobs online, making calls, fighting the bureaucracy that came with her situation. "Another rejection," she said one afternoon when Darius came home early. "They say they're inclusive, but when they hear wheelchair..." "Their loss," Darius said firmly. "You fix 3 things in this house that I've been putting off for years. House repairs don't pay bills. They do if you're an electrician. Or an electrical engineer. I never finished my degree. So finish it. With what money? And how?" That night, after Zara was asleep, Darius found Immani sitting in the living room staring at nothing. "Talk to me," he said, sitting across from her. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared that I'm getting comfortable here, that Zara's getting attached, that I'm..." She stopped. "That you're what?" that I'm starting to feel like I belong somewhere again. And that's dangerous, because this isn't mine. This isn't permanent. This is just kindness, with an expiration date. Darius moved to sit beside her on the couch. What if it didn't have to be? Listen, you're good for Zara. You're good for this house. You contribute. You help. You make things better. Why does it have to be temporary? Because that's not how the world works. People don't just take in strangers permanently, and I won't be anyone's charity case. I won't be the poor paralyzed girl you felt sorry for. Is that what you think you are to us? Isn't it? No, Darius said firmly. You're the woman who makes Zara laugh at breakfast. You're the person who fixed the death trap outlet and the leaky faucet and the squeaky door. You're the one who helps with homework and watches movies with us and makes this house feel less empty. You're Immani, just Immani. The wheelchair is part of you, but it's not all of you, not to us. The moment stretched between them, fragile and important. Then Zara's voice from the hallway broke it. Dad? Miss Immani? I had a bad dream. Immani moved first, instinctively. Come here, little one. Zara climbed onto the couch between them, curling into Immani's side. I dreamed you left, she whispered to Immani. You went away like Mommy did. Oh, sweetheart, Immani said, her voice thick. I'm right here. Promise you won't leave? Immani looked at Darius over Zara's head. He saw the war in her eyes, the desire to comfort Zara, battling with the fear of making promises she couldn't keep. I promise I won't leave without saying goodbye, she finally said. And I promise that as long as I'm here, I'll keep you safe and loved. Okay, Zara mumbled, already falling back asleep. Have you ever watched someone realize their home? Darius saw it happen to Immani in that moment, holding Zara, being needed, being wanted, being family. Week 3 brought the phone call that changed everything. Darius came home to find Immani crying in the kitchen, her phone on the table in front of her. What's wrong? He was beside her immediately. A law firm called, she managed between sobs. About my accident. A witness came forward. Someone who was recording at the construction site. It shows everything, that I followed every safety protocol, that the company was negligent. That's good news, right? They want to reopen my case. They think I could get full compensation. Medical bills, back pay, even money for school. She looked up at him. This could change everything. That's amazing, Immani. But something in his voice must have betrayed him, so she grabbed his hand. This doesn't mean I'm leaving. The legal stuff will take months. And even when it's done... She paused. Darius, you and Zara saved my life. Literally. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't stopped that night. You would have survived. You're a survivor. Maybe. But surviving isn't living. You reminded me what living feels like. The legal process was slow, but hope is a powerful thing. Immani attacked it with determination. Darius helped where he could, driving her to meetings, watching Zara during phone calls, being present in the quiet moments when the weight of possibility became overwhelming. Meanwhile, life continued. Zara's volcano finally erupted at school to great acclaim. Immani taught her to wire a simple circuit for her next science project. Darius learned to cook something besides soup and sandwiches, with Immani directing from her chair, laughing when he burned the first attempt. Auntie Grace from next door had opinions, as expected. About time you had help with that child, she told Darius loudly over the fence. That girl needs a woman's influence. Auntie Grace, you've been giving her plenty of woman's influence. Not the same, and you know it. That Immani, she's good people. Got steel in her spine, and not just the medical kind. 4 months in, Immani started online courses in electrical engineering. She studied at the kitchen table while Zara did homework, both of them focused and determined. You're a good influence on her, Darius said one evening, watching them work. She's a good influence on me, Immani countered. She makes me want to be better, to show her that setbacks don't mean giving up. Zara looked up from her math worksheet. Miss Immani, when I grow up, can I be an engineer like you? You can be anything you want, sweetheart. Then I want to be like you and Dad. Someone who helps people. Darius saw Immani blink back tears. 6 months. The seasons changed. October's cold gave way to April's hope. The legal settlement was moving forward. Immani would have enough for her own place, her education, a fresh start. We need to talk, she said one evening after Zara was in bed. Darius's heart sank. You're leaving? The opposite. I want to stay. But I need to know if that's what you want too. Really want. Not just allowing because you're kind. Immani, let me finish. I love Zara like she's my own. I love this house, this life we've built. She stopped, took a breath. I love this family. But if this is just convenience for you, if I'm just a good babysitter who pays rent, I need to know now. You're not the babysitter, Darius said quietly. You haven't been for months. Then what am I? Darius thought about all the ways to answer. Instead, he told the simple truth. You're the person I look for when I come home. You're the one I want to tell about my day. You're who Zara draws in her family pictures at school. He paused. You're who I'm falling in love with. Have been for a while now. The kitchen was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. I can't have children, Immani said suddenly. The accident. There was damage. If you want more kids, I want you, Darius interrupted. Zara wants you. We want this family, the one we already have. I'm in a wheelchair, and I snore and can't cook and still forget to put the toilet seat down. We all have our challenges. Darius, be serious. I am being serious. Your wheelchair doesn't change how I feel about you. It's part of you. And I love all of you. Immani rolled closer to where he sat, taking his hands. I love you too, both of you. But love isn't always enough. No, Darius agreed. But love and choice together, that's enough. And I choose you, Immani. I choose us. Every day. Even on the hard days when accessibility is a problem or people stare, especially on the hard days, that's when choosing matters most. 18 months after that cold October night, the settlement came through. Substantial enough for Immani to have real options. She could afford her own apartment, fully accessible, close to the university. She could start fresh, independent, free. They told Zara over dinner, explaining that Immani had money now, that she could get her own place. Zara's fork clattered to her plate. You're leaving? Zara. Immani started. You promised. Zara's eyes filled with tears. You promised you wouldn't leave without saying goodbye, but you also promised to keep me safe and loved, and you can't do that if you're gone. I don't have to leave, Immani said quickly. I have choices now. Then choose us. Zara cried. We chose you. Dad chose you that night at the bus stop. I chose you when you did my hair. We keep choosing you every day. Why won't you choose us back? Darius watched Immani's face crumble. Oh, sweetheart, I do choose you. Every single day. Then stay. It's not that simple. Yes, it is, Zara interrupted with 7-year-old certainty. Love is simple. You love someone. You stay with them. Mom couldn't stay because she died. But you're not dying. You're just scared. Out of the mouths of babes, Darius thought, watching Immani process Zara's words. You're right, Immani said. I am scared. I'm scared of being too much trouble, of not being enough, of taking advantage of your dad's kindness. My dad's not just kind, Zara said firmly. He loves you. I heard him telling Auntie Grace yesterday. Darius flushed. Zara, it's true, and Miss Immani loves us. So why is everyone making this so complicated? That night, After Zara had cried herself out and fallen asleep on the couch between them, Darius and Immani sat in the gentle darkness. "She's not wrong," Darius said quietly. "No," Immani agreed. "She sees things clearly. So what do you want to do?" Immani was quiet for a long moment. "I want to use the settlement money to modify the house, make it fully accessible. I want to finish school. I want to contribute equally to this family. And I want—" She paused, vulnerable. "I want to marry you someday. When you're ready, if you ever are." Darius's breath caught. "Immani, I know it's fast. I know we've only known each other for months. But when you know, you know. And I know I want this. All of it. Forever." 2 years after that October night, the backyard was decorated with white lights and Zara's handmade paper flowers. Auntie Grace had invited the entire neighborhood, declaring it the event of the decade. Darius stood at the makeshift altar, watching Immani come down the aisle in her wheelchair, wearing a simple white dress and kente cloth head wrap, the biggest smile he'd ever seen on her face. In his vows, Darius said, "2 years ago I thought I was rescuing you. But the truth is, you rescued us. Zara and I were surviving, but we weren't living. You taught us that broken doesn't mean worthless, that different doesn't mean less than, and that sometimes the best families are the ones that find each other in the most unexpected ways." Immani's vows included, to Darius, who saw me when I was invisible, who offered help without conditions and love without limits, to Zara, who shared her dad with me when she didn't have to, who taught me that love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, staying present, and choosing each other every single day. I choose you both today and always. Zara interrupted the kiss to hug them both, declaring loudly, "Finally! Now can we have cake?" The reception was in the backyard. Nothing fancy. Soul food from neighbors, music from Darius's old speakers, Zara teaching everyone the electric slide with modifications she'd created so Immani could do it in her chair. No regrets? Darius asked Immani as they watched Zara boss Auntie Grace around on the dance floor. "Only one," Immani said. "What?" "I wish I'd said yes that first night when you asked me to come with you. Would have saved us all a lot of time." "No," Darius said thoughtfully. "We needed the time. To choose each other over and over, to build this the right way. Today, 5 years after that October night, Immani runs her own electrical consulting firm specializing in accessible design. Her business cards read, Imani Coleman, CEO. She loves the sound of it every time. Darius still works at the plant, but no longer takes double shifts. He coaches Zara's soccer team and is learning to bake, badly, but with enthusiasm. Zara, now 12, is the star of her science class. Last month, she had to write an essay about heroes for school. She stood at the front of the class and read, "My hero isn't someone famous. Actually, I have 2 heroes. My dad, Darius Coleman, who stops to help strangers even when he's scared and tired. He taught me that kindness isn't just about being nice. It's about taking action when someone needs help. And my mom, Imani Coleman, who proves every day that wheelchairs can't stop someone from standing tall. She taught me that family isn't about blood or about being perfect. It's about choosing each other, especially when things get hard. 5 years ago, my dad made a choice at a bus stop that changed our lives. He chose to see someone who needed help. He chose to act. And that choice gave me my mom. That night, as they tucked Zara into bed, she asked them a question. Do you think Mom knows? My first mom, Leona. Do you think she knows about our family now? That we're okay? I think, Immani said carefully, your first mom's love is part of what brought us all together. Her love for you and your dad made you both the kind of people who could open your hearts to someone new. So she's still part of our family? Always, Darius said. Just like you'll always be part of ours, no matter where life takes you. After Zara fell asleep, Darius and Immani sat on the porch watching the stars. the same stars that had witnessed that October night 5 years ago. Ever wonder what would have happened if you hadn't stopped? Immani asked. I try not to, Darius said honestly. It hurts to think about. I would have survived somehow. I always did before. But Darius, surviving isn't living. You didn't just save my life that night. You gave me a life worth living. You gave us the same thing, Darius said. Before you, Zara and I were just going through the motions. You brought light back into this house. We saved each other, Immani said simply. The best rescues work that way, Darius agreed. They sat in comfortable silence, the autumn air crisp around them. October again, their month, their beginning. Darius? Yeah? Thank you for stopping, for seeing me, for everything. Immani? Yeah? Thank you for saying yes, for coming with me, for staying. It started with 3 words on a cold October night. Come with me. 3 words that meant, you're not alone. You matter. You're seen. 3 words that became a bridge from despair to hope, from loneliness to family, from merely surviving to truly living. Love isn't about finding perfect people. It's about finding people whose imperfections fit perfectly with yours. It's about seeing someone at their lowest and choosing to lift them up, not because you have to, but because you can't imagine doing anything else. It's about understanding that "come with me" isn't just an invitation. It's a promise. A promise that says, your struggle is now our struggle. Your joy is now our joy. Your life is now part of our life. And that promise changes everything.